Happy Sunday fun day. Welcome everyone to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin continues its bullish momentum, about to recapture price discovery, which is 1093 in play. Let's get it. Also in today's show, besides the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, breaking news, Michael Saylor just posted the infamous Saylor Bitcoin tracker again, which typically implies tomorrow will be another major acquisition announcement from the Giga Chad. We'll also be discussing the Bitcoin price action over the course of the past 16 years on every Mother's Day since the Genesis block, as well as breaking news. Conor McGregor touts Irish Bitcoin reserve in presidential bid. That's right. And Max invited, of course, Conor to link up with the president of El Salvador, Bukele, to discuss adopting an Ireland strategic Bitcoin reserve. Let's freaking go as the game theory continues all around the world. We'll also be discussing Michael Saylor's The 21st Century's Warren Buffett, according to Your Holiness, the high priest himself, Max Kaiser, and also El Salvador continues stacking 7 Bitcoin in the last week, despite the IMF deal. Also, we will be discussing sovereigns are buying billions of dollars worth of the biddy, according to Anthony Scaramucci. We'll also be discussing Jack Dorsey, the Twitter founder, warning to investors, and he explains why Bitcoin is likely to hit $1 million per coin. We'll be breaking all this down for you. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market, all this plus so much more in today's show. But yeah, without further ado, let's kick off the show, shall we? If you're new to the channel, it's very important you smash the likes, subscribe. It's free. We're the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Then ring the bell, turn on all notifications. That way you get notified each and every day when I go live. And you can enjoy these gong strikes just like this. Today is pod episode number 1989. I'm your host, JV. Happy Mother's Day, May 11th, 2025. Let's kick off the stream with our market watch as we do each and every day, pulling up Coin 360. You should be able to see here shortly. We got Bitcoin still in the green, which is nice considering it's the weekend. Just maintaining over the weekend is a good sign. I think when the legacy markets open tomorrow, or potentially even this evening when the Asian markets open, I think next leg up in play, new all-time highs. Mark my words, and Nippinator indicator in full effect. We also have Ether trading above 2,500. Ether hasn't seen such bullish price action in 32 years. I may be exaggerating just a little. XRP correcting, but the majority of the cryptos currently pumping and in the green. Checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at $3.33 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap almost 2.1 trillion, back on the rise. We love to see that. We have 138 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours, up virtually 16% on the day as the Bitcoin dominance leveled out at 62.2%, with the Ether dominance back on a rise at 9.1%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got the Pi network up 47%. We got WorldCoin up 9% and Cospa up 8%. Which alt, if any, are you bullish on for this particular bull? Holla. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the day. Yesterday, it was like 97% of the market in the green. Today, not so great. I'd say pretty divided, maybe 60-40 red over green. Zooming out on the weekly, this is pretty bullish. I'd say 97% of the market in the green. And zooming out on the monthly, overall extremely bullish. 97% of the market in the green. Impressive gainers across the board. Like WIF is up 100%, Virtual 262%, Monero 63%. Pretty impressive. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're 70, yesterday 70, last week at 64, and last month 25 in extreme fear. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. As of today, we're on block number 896,275. We have 153,725 blocks until the halving of 2028. And you can currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 963 sats. So as I say each and every day, pick up some sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Cop yourself a custom biddy exclusive. Let's kick it next with our astrology for the baddies, aka astrology for the broskies. And we'll also be pulling up some of the live charts, especially after the infamous freeze frame. So here we go. But also, actually, should we do the historic price action on Mother's Day first as a bonus? I think so. Happy Mother's Day again. And also, Michael Saylor just posted the Saylor Bitcoin tracker. He does this religiously the day before the big announcement, so expect another massive acquisition coming from Strategy B and Mikey Saylor. But here's the historic price action of the Bitcoin price on Mother's Day. Let's start with the year 2009. Since the inception of Bitcoin, it was worth zero. The following year on Mother's Day, Bitcoin was worth zero. In 2011, it was $8. In 2012, $5. 2013, $115. 2014, $444, virtually a 4x. 2015, $237. 2016, which is the year of the second halving, $456. And then we saw a parabolic run up the following year. It hit 1,700 on Mother's Day, and in fact, it closed the year at roughly 20,000. How many of you were around then? Let me know. And then we hit 8,500 in 2018 Mother's Day, 8,000 2019, 9,500 in 2020, the following halving, the year preceding the halving, typically the most bullish year of the 4-year cycle, virtually 50,000 on Mother's Day, then 2022, 29,000, 2023, 26 G's, baby. 2024, last year of the halving on Mother's Day, 60,800, the year preceding the halving, right now virtually double from last year's Mother's Day price. Currently sitting above 104, looking to recapture 105. And if you don't know, now you know. Now for some TA, according to the analysts, and like I said, I'll be pulling up some of the live charts right after. TradingView showed weekend upside volatility, delivering new multi-month highs near 105. Lack of liquidity during the out-of-the-hours trading contributed to the move, which one more came on the back of the positive rumors over the U.S.-China trade deal. Quoting SKU Analytics, Bitcoin almost tagging 105. It was literally 104,998 on Coinbase, so it's safe to say we frickin' tag 105. Markets will want to see fruition of Trump's comments regarding the path towards with the trade between the U.S. and China. Shipping data does already suggest the insiders know, hence the container volume has briefly picked that again. Rec Capital confirmed that Bitcoin could even kickstart a return to the all-time high. Common sense, or a half a god candle away, wouldn't you say? Quoting them here, can Bitcoin do it? Can Bitcoin weekly close above the range highs of its recently reclaimed reaccumulation range to kickstart the breakout of the process? Well, absolutely. Bitcoin is on the cusp of beginning the price discovery uptrend 2. Next leg up, baby. And as outlined here from Rec Capital, Bitcoin bull market progress, 85.5%. Progress will speed up on the parabolic advances. We're going up forever, Laura. And a look at the latest exchange order book data from CoinGlass showed a large cloud of the ass clustered around the area immediately below 106. Bids were laddered down to 102, creating the thickening band of the liquidity around the spot price into the weekly close. And if you don't know, now you know. But yeah, I next want to pull up some of the live charts. Let's do that real quick. Again, welcome everyone joining the live stream. Happy Mother's Day. This is your special day, ladies, to celebrate. But check this out. Will ya? We're going to look at some of the live charts. As you know, all the charts are looking bullish. Here we're looking at the 1 hour via TradingView, via Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange here in the United States of America. Bullish pennant formation, sensation, green target, bull scenario in play. I repeat, in play, 109, which will take us right back to price discovery. That's when things get exciting. Let me know when you feel we'll likely break out into price discovery, reclaiming the previous all-time high, which was achieved all the way back on January 20th, inauguration day for the Trumpster. And zooming out from there, we'll take a look at a 4 hour, and we'll go from there. Maybe we'll get a Nippinator indicator. There's just no telling when church is in session on a Sunday, preaching the Holy Gospel of Satosh. Here on the 4 hour chart, note particular targets, but bullish momentum overall. You can see like the stairway case climb. It's been a very bullish week for the past 7 days. In fact, the past 5 weeks have been extremely bullish, and we're about to get a weekly bullish candle close here shortly during today's live stream. And hopefully we do a next leg up, which is my personal instinct, but you guys let me know your thoughts. Look at the daily chart. We do have some big green candles being printed. You can see 3 days ago, big bullish run up, corrective itty bitty red, followed by the green bullish momentum continuation on yesterday, Sat Stack, and Saturday. Sunday, thus far, itty bitty corrective, but we're still maintaining above 104.3 at the time of the live stream. Bull scenario, formation, sensation on the daily chart, sitting at 111,000, which would obviously catapult the Bitty price to a new all-time high. Bear scenario 69. We don't even entertain the bears. They don't deserve our attention, especially during the bull run. And examining the 1 week, again, we're about to get a weekly close. Big green candle formation sensation. 5 weekly consecutive green candle closes. And if we can close above 105, that'd be the icing on the cake as the bullish momentum continues into the new week, as we continue to expand the price action here in Q2. Cup and handle target in play. We've seen this on the weekly chart for several months now, so 124. In my humble opinion, I think the next leg up, once we break the current all-time high of 109, is going to be somewhere in the 120, 130 range. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Holla at your boy. And zooming out from there, we take a look at the monthly. We're now 11 days into the month, and we all know 11 is a divine omen, hence why JV only rocks the 11 jerseys. And you can already see the pumpage, 104.4, por favor. Monthly, bullish, only 11 days in. Last month, bullish, Q2, game on. New all-time highs in play. 2024 dragons. We don't slay dragons. We are dragons that slay. But anyways, let's break down this big news. I'm pretty excited to share it with you. First, we'll start with the headline from this article. Then I'm going to share a bunch of tweets, and then we'll continue with a story. Ex-UFC champ, no, double champ. Get it straight, Cointelegraph, unacceptable. Conor McGregor touts Irish Bitcoin reserve in the presidential bill. That's right, or I should say bid. So you can see right here where it all started. The president says come to El Salvador, and we'll show you how it's done. And McGregor responded to Max, we need the greatest minds for the Bitcoin reserve. Message me and let's chat on Spaces, X Spaces. And then Conor wrote to Max and Najib, send me a message and let's organize a meeting. Game on. And let me show you some other recent tweets. Max reiterates Bitcoin only. Crypto or blockchain can get you a ticket to CCOT and get you arrested. That's right. If you don't know, in Bitcoin country, it's illegal to slang the shit coins. The only ones that are legal are Bitcoin, which is a legal tender, as well as registered security by the name of Tether, USDT. Everything else is considered illegal and unlawful. So you don't want to get caught pumping the shit coins over there. So yeah, he also shares here, Max, yes, the nation state sailor play can be rolled out in Ireland. This would be topic number 1 at the Bitcoin Nation State Summit between President Bukele and Conor McGregor. And for those that don't know, Conor's been talking about running for president, and I think this is the ace up his sleeve because he's going to get so much popularity. Not that he needs more popularity, but he's going to get the full support from the entire Bitcoin community, just like Trump got and the rest of those, people supporting and backing Bitcoin. Piranha wrote here, Conor McGregor isn't just visiting Bukele, he is potentially opening Ireland as a Bitcoin vault nation. What El Salvador did with the volcanoes, Ireland could do with the neutrality, tax sheltering, and legacy destroying charm. Thus distributed my Sunday sun tanning, why Ireland might become the first Bitcoin vault state for Europe, and why this meeting matters more than it looks. What Conor McGregor's fame unlocks that institutions never could, a cultural on-ramp to Bitcoin's sovereignty. Could this be Bitcoin's version of Bretton Woods with Guinness and goat soup instead of suits and cigars? Bring on the peasants. What y'all wish you tweeted before the photo McGregor and Bukele goes viral. This isn't about a fighter visiting a president. It's about an empire collapsing and 2 rebels sketching a new one with Uncle Max, keeping them both calm. If you don't see the strategic chess here, the potential, you'll only see the memes. And by the time the newspaper catches up, too late. Bookmark this because in 6 months when Ireland becomes the European El Salvador, you'll want receipts. Very powerful post that also got reposted by Max Kaiser. And I've been loving the memes. Shout out Brandon. Keep them coming. But without further ado, let's read a little more into the particular story referenced here. Check it. UFC fighter turned Irish political candidate McGregor has endorsed the idea of building the Bitty Reserve in Ireland to give more power back to the people. He wrote here, crypto in its origin was founded to give the power back to the people. An Irish Bitcoin strategic reserve will give the power to the people's money. That's right. That was the initial tweet in which he shared on X, as outlined right here. Former UFC champ, double champ, said he would discuss his plans in more detail in the upcoming X Spaces, prompting responses for some of the Bitcoin industry's most prominent leaders, including Pompliano, again, Max Kaiser, David Bailey, all the goats. And I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Saylor hops out on there there. Quoting Pompliano, we need the greatest minds for the Bitcoin reserve. Message me and let's chat on MySpace. McGregor said in a response to the Bitcoiners, I host the Pomp podcast, and one of Trump's crypto advisors, David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine, also reached out, to which McGregor responded, David messaged me, let's discuss your ideas. McGregor announced his independent candidacy for the Irish presidency late March 2025, centering his campaign on anti-immigration policies and combating crime. Ireland's next presidential election must take place by November 11th. That's a divine number, 1111. Whoa! As the term of the current president, Michael D. Higgins, is set to end the day after. So let's get McGregor in power. Let's establish the Ireland Strategic Reserve for the biddy. And establishing the Bitcoin Reserve, let alone one coming from a minor independent party, would not be an easy feat. Despite recent regulatory progress, the U.S., El Salvador, and Bhutan are amongst the few countries that have already established a Bitcoin Reserve to date. That's right, Bukele got the first mover's advantage. And Bhutan is one as well. I think they even have more Bitcoin than El Salvador. McGregor's political visibility was recently boosted by a trip to the White House where he met with Trump and received his support. And naturally, Trump is very bullish on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, birds of a feather flock together, a wise man once said. McGregor is facing intense scrutiny in Ireland, having recently been found guilty of sexual assault in a civil case, a conviction which he has since appealed, while also previously being investigated for hate speech crimes. McGregor's push for a Bitcoin reserve comes a little over a month after the McGregor-backed Real project failed to attract sufficient funding in its token launch pre-sale. But I got to respect the fact they didn't continue with the project once it didn't get good feedback from the community. I think people are fed up and sick and tired of the meme coin. So if I can give any advice to Conor McGregor, stick to Bitcoin only, and we will love you. We will support you, and we got your back. If you start, shilling shit coins, you're going to lose all respect from great leaders and us all around the world, really. And we're not going to support you in your efforts. And obviously, you tried the shit coin route. Didn't fare so well, and I think the people have spoken. But there you have it, yo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real, and Strategic Bitcoin Reserve doesn't get no realer than that. So anyways, let me know your thoughts with McGregor. Do you think he will become president of Ireland? Do you think he could be the missing piece, the missing link to establishing the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve as the new president takes place on 11/11? Next story of the day. Let's discuss the latest from Mikey Saylor. That's right. Well, regarding Max Keiser calling Saylor the 21st century Warren Buffett. That's right. So here we have it. Warren Buffett made the ultimate case for Bitcoin as the American investor considers stepping down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Well, I know his partner in crime already ascended to a different realm. I won't disclose which realm Munger's currently residing in, but I digress. Pending board approval, Buffett would step aside at the end of the year, giving away for Greg Abel, vice chair of the insurance operations, to become the Berkshire new chief. And speaking of chiefs, shout out to the Nippinator. This revelation came as Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting on May 3rd, where Buffett also considered a stark warning about the long-term value of the U.S. dollar. That's right, everyone's done already lost faith in USD. He noted that every system eventually debases its currency. Pretty little money printer go. And according to the Buffett, government decisions make paper money lose value over time. Tell us something we didn't know, Captain Obvious, quoting him here. In the end, if you get people to control the currency, you can issue the paper money, and you will. Well, precisely. And without naming alternatives such as Bitcoin, the 93-year-old, I wonder what kind of diet this man is on, investor cautioned against holding assets denominated in the currency he said was systematically devalued by government policy. So he's low-key saying, stack the biddy without having to say it. Quoting him here, the natural course of the government is to make the currency worth less over time. Some places devalue at breathtaking rates. It's not evil. It's just their job. I dare say it's an evil job. Correct me if I'm wrong, broskies. The investing icon said that his late partner, Mr. Charlie Munger, who hated Bitcoin, by the way, had to choose a second area besides stocks. He would have gone into the foreign exchange. These remarks suggest an openness to the non-traditional assets. Bitcoin advocate and broadcaster, Your Holiness, Max Keiser, responded to the remarks, and here's what he had to say. Executive chairman and co-founder of MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, Mikey Saylor, is the Warren Buffett of the 21st century. He saw what Buffett described described and built his strategy around it. Can I get an amen? Kaiser also long criticized fiat currency. He has been for a very long time, of course. We've been documenting it every day. The Bitcoin pioneer contrasted Saylor's Bitcoin-focused investment approach with what he described as Buffett's reliance on traditional finance, better known as TradFi. Quoting Max again. Warren Buffett built his empire on printing the money. Most of his holdings over the years has been in the banks, insurance companies, and financial services. Precisely. Buffett benefited from having political leverage in Washington, particularly during the 2008 financial crisis. During the time, Kaiser said, his Buffett investments in Wall Street institutions align with the government-led rescue efforts. And during the market downturn, Berkshire Hathaway invested heavily in companies like Goldman Sachs. That's where Mr. Gensler was lurking from. And Bank of America, which earned him praise and a stabilizing force. Mikey Saylor, meanwhile, had been taking a dramatically different approach. Under the leadership of Now Strategy, he began acquiring the Bitcoin in 2020, first publicly traded company to put the bitty on the balance sheet. And they now have over 555,000 of the pretty little bitty. And he ain't done stacking. He's eventually going to have millions as he continues racing for the Bitcoin alongside the BlackRock, which currently has over 600,000 of the bitty. Collectively has over 1.1 million. Two people, collectively, two companies have more Bitcoin than Satoshi's wallets. You can't make this ish up. But anyways, Warren Buffett talks about the virtues of Bitcoin without mentioning the Bitcoin. Precisely. Can you read between the lines? El Salvador stacking 7 Bitcoin just in the last week, despite the IMF deal. And of course, we get the proof of reserves, which is always published publicly. So here we go. The government of El Salvador continues stacking Bitcoin for its national crypto reserve, despite the ongoing deal with the IMF, stipulating that the Central American country stop using public funds to purchase Bitcoin as one of the conditions for the loan agreement. That's right. According to data from El Salvador's Bitcoin office, the country acquired an additional 7 BTC in the last 7 days. That's an average of 1 per day, bringing the total holdings to 6,173, valued at over $637 million. El Salvador's Bitcoin office has continued a steady pace of the Bitcoin acquisition months after the IMF agreement was signed, showing no signs of halting its Bitcoin purchases despite taking the $1.4 billion. The Central American country is one of the only nations actively purchasing Bitcoin in the open market operations, and its national Bitcoin treasury strategy will serve as the blueprint for other countries, such as Ireland, such as any other country that wants to adopt the Bitcoin standard. Let's get it. Also considering the Bitcoin strategic reserves, according to the crypto industry executives, and you can see right here, proof of reserves, 637 million. Stacy Herbert did a post the other day. Shout out Stacy, head of the Bitcoin office in El Salvador. She believes that the Bitcoin price, or at least their holdings, could be over $1 billion by the time of the event, end of the month in Vegas, as you know, the big conference. And my understanding is, obviously, all the big wigs are going to be there. The Trump family is going to be there. Chandy 10 is going to be there. Oracle is going to be there. Mikey Saylor is going to be there. Bukele, I would assume, is going to be there. Max Kaiser is going to be there. McGregor, most likely, is going to be there, meeting with some of these, OGs and discussing Ireland. So you already know, game on. El Salvador signed a $1.4 billion loan agreement with the IMF in December. That was last year. As part of the agreement, the government of the country agreed to rescind its Bitcoin legal tender law and make the Bitcoin payments voluntary. Well, it was kind of always voluntary to begin with. The agreement also stipulated that the El Salvador must scale back the Bitcoin accumulation, but guess what? They have not slowed down. In fact, they've only increased the accumulation. So my understanding is it was like a chess play. Bukele's like, oh, you want to give me 1.4 million? Sure. I'm just going to continue to buy Bitcoin with it. Deal with it. But what they are going to wind down, from my understanding, from the people I know in the country, Shivo wallet. My understanding, it was like a private company that created it, and not everyone likes it, so they'll probably wind that down. And it doesn't matter because you have your ability to use any Bitcoin Lightning Network wallet that you choose. But one of the benefits of the Shivo wallet, and I know from firsthand experience because I went to El Salvador earlier in the year, and I will be back there for the next conference with Max and Stacy in January, the Max and Stacy Invitational, is there are no fees. The government eats whatever the Lightning fee is when you exchange money using the Shivo wallet. So I know some OGs out there that like transact large amounts, and there's like, it's great. There's actually no charge whatsoever. Not that it's a large charge to begin with, because when you use the Lightning Network, like for example, when I made a $10 purchase, when I had pupusas, it was a 2-cent fee using Lightning Network. And I used my app and I sent it to a business owner who, it was his pupusa store, restaurant, and he had the Shivo wallet, and it worked pretty instantly, and bada boom, bada bing. I even documented it, which was awesome, and I posted the video using the sats to pay for the pupusas via on my X. Let me know if you saw that. So yeah, in January of 2025, lawmakers of Central America country repealed the Bitcoin legal tender law, 55-2 congressional vote, although this did nothing to slow down the acquisitions. Like I said, when you see news coming from the IMF, it's 100% FUD 100% of the time. The IMF issued another request to the country to halt the Bitcoin buys, but like I said, they're continuing to buy. Quoting Bukele here from an X post, no, it is not stopping. If it didn't stop when the world ostracized us and most Bitcoiners abandoned us, it won't stop now, and it won't stop in the future. Can't stop, won't stop, no diddy. But yeah, here's the latest from the mooch, Scaramucci, whose new little book of Bitcoin Chronicles. Did someone say chronic bring facts? His own conversion from skeptic to evangelist said overseas officials are quietly adding the digital asset even before the United States clarifies the stablecoin legislation, bank custody, and guidance in the broader tokenization rules. And when asked if sovereigns, referring to sovereign wealth funds, are buying Bitcoin secretly, Scaramucci said, I think they're buying it. I think they're buying it on the margin, adding that regulatory green lights will unleash a massive wave of capital inflow. Quoting him again, I don't think it is going to be a gigantic groundswell of buying until we greenlight legislation in the United States. This, in Scaramucci's view, will make people worth 10, 20, $30 trillion, buying $500 million of Bitcoin, buying $1 billion of Bitcoin. And as he shared here on X, he confirmed that all the sovereigns are buying billions worth of Bitcoin. Game on. The former White House communication director framed today's discrete allocations as a rational response to an increasing erratic policy environment, with tariffs ricocheting across the global supply chains and the dollar's primacy controlling the global economy. He argued officials outside the U.S. are searching for insurance against what we call executive policy behavior. That's right. Bitcoin's an insurance policy against all the corruption from the lizard folk. We may need to be decoupled from one sovereign currency, he said, predicting gold's record highs. Recently hit 3,500. Peter Schiff doing the backflip. Bitcoin's resilience during the year's stock market slump stems from the same instinct for the self-protection. He stopped short of predicting that Bitcoin will replace the dollar, but he insisted that the sovereign accumulation is the precondition for the eventual 7-figure price tag. Quoting him here, if you want to see $1 million Bitcoin, that's when somebody at a sovereign says, okay, this is part of the infrastructure of the world's financial services architecture. In that scenario, he expects official portfolios to target 1 to 3% allocation into Bitcoin, enough in his view to lift Bitcoin's market cap towards gold's 20 to 30 trillion domain. That's right. Now, for now, the digital asset thesis appears to be holding, while global equity indices have fallen 5 to 8% since the largest tariff salvos. Scaramucci noted Bitcoin is roughly where it was at the beginning of the year. Thursday's breakout above 100,000 underscores that relative strength. Meanwhile, Skybridge Capital, which is his company itself, has ridden the wave. The mooch reminded listeners that he began buying Bitcoin at around 20,000. Nice. I got to front run that mofo. I love it. Calling the position quite beneficial to our performance. Independent fund database figures show the 1.7 billion vehicle returned 43% in 2024, outpacing its hedge fund benchmark by more than 4 to 1. Results Scaramucci attributes chiefly to the Bitcoin stake. This is the best idea I've had seen in my career. I knew the risk of not jumping in were greater than playing it safe. And if you don't know, now you know. And so he's projecting $1 million per coin. All right, fam, now for our feature story of the day. Twitter's founder, the infamous Jack Dorsey, warns investors that Bitcoin could be on its way to hitting $1 million. That's right. We're talking 1 million per coin. So let's break down the latest from the man with the pie May beard. Silicon Valley circles have long viewed Dorsey as the next Steve Jobs. Some people genuinely believe it's Satoshi Nakamoto. Let me know if you ever heard that theory. Because his tech powers are in the same league. Twitter has changed the world, and Dorsey's Square Payments company, Cash App, was a very early corporate innovator in Bitcoin. And you always know he always walks around with the infamous Satoshi shirt, doesn't he? Way back in 2019, the Cash App started offering Bitcoin custody services that account holders could buy with their credit card. Let me know how many of you have ever purchased the pretty little bitty using the Cash App. And you got to thank Jack Dorsey for that. Overnight, as users began doing a smaller scale precisely what made MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, a Wall Street sensation more lately. Today's Square is named Block. They did the rebrand. Its shares plunged 20% to start off the new month of May. Dorsey warned investors of turbulent times ahead for the U.S. consumer strength. Ironically, while that's not good news for Block's business model, it could be the catalyst that drives the Bitcoin price to 1 million per coin. So let's entertain it, shall we? After Block's earnings report, the CEO of one of the largest payment processing apps in the world said consumer spending has shifted dramatically, quoting him here. This coincided with the inflows coming in below our expectations. During the quarter, non-discretionary Cash App card spend in areas like grocery and gas was more resilient, which, while we saw a more pronounced impact on discretionary spending in areas like travel and media, we believe this consumer softness was a key driver to our forecast miss. I dare say the consumer softness is because they're trying to turn the world gay. We've had enough of the clown world. All I'm saying. The cutbacks on spending drove lower sales in Q1, which saw the U.S. economy shrink for the first quarter in 3 years. And if it happens for a second quarter in a row, it meets the most commonly used definition of a recession by former economists. Let me know if you feel the USA is likely trending into a recession. As a result, the central banks is apt to cut the interest rates to get the business going again. A CNBC survey recently revealed rate cuts likely this year due to the wobbling economy. Why so wobbly? It's not like we're spinning on an axis or anything. Just saying. That could be what launches the Bitcoin price to the million level. According to Jack Dorsey, I mean, what does Jack know? He only started embracing Bitcoin at around the time Satoshi introduced it, but I digress. When the Fed cut rates in 2007 and 08, Bitcoin started operating for the first time. During the ensuing multi-year low-interest late regime, the bitty price soared from 1/1000th of a penny to 20,000. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin went from 1/1000th of a penny in 2009 to 20,000 per coin in 2017. So that's what? Literally 9 years, 8 years. Crazy. And by then, the Fed had raised rates again and the Bitcoin price had crashed. It began to recover after the Fed slashed rates again in 2020 and then soared to a new record high of 69,000. Seemed like yesterday, November of 2021. And ironic, that's around when Ethereum hit the current all-time high of 4,500 and Ether has since to recover from the previous all-time high. The landscape seems rather similar now, wouldn't you say? But a bitty price is actually well above 100, even after the Fed's third consecutive refusal to lower the rates, and the landscape has changed drastically. And then there was a previous headline literally 1 year ago. Here's when Bitcoin price will skyrocket to 1 million per coin, according to Jack Dorsey. So yeah, Dorsey told Solana that he believes the crypto can soar to at least 1 million by 2030. So that's the particular date, stating there's a high probability if it hits that number, it goes above and beyond. But also keep in mind, we had a much different Bitcoin landscape geopolitically. We didn't have nations like the United States already signed executive order from Trump. We didn't have the strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's been so much more institutional bullishness since he initially made the first $1 million prediction. So just keep that in mind. That likely tells me we're most likely to hit $1 million a lot sooner than 2030. But you guys, let me know your thoughts and I'll read your comments out loud. And welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. We have 1,888 live viewers collectively. We're still streaming live on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Happy Mother's Day. And if you're a mother and I haven't wished you a personal Happy Mother's Day, put a 1 in the live chat. I'm happy to do so.